we decided to go off for the day and spend a few hours in Homer, Alaska at Bishop Beach. We've been keeping an eye on the low tides as we've been wanting to go and discover the really amazing tide pools during a low tide on Bishop's Beach. So we found this perfect day and we've been waiting for the low tide and decided to go on Saturday. Ended up being a gorgeous, warm, beautiful day. And we were really pleasantly surprised to find this absolutely incredible treasure so close to home. In the tide pools, there were all kinds of families. Lots of people were out for the day. There were guides from the museum who handed out these really cool sheets to help you to be able to identify the different creatures. I don't have all of them identified, but as you go along, you probably know better than I do some of the cool creatures. Look how amazing you can see the volcanoes across the bay, and the tide got so low. I've never seen such a crazy tide before. Alaska is one of those really rare and unusual and really special places that has a crazy differential between its low tide and its high tide. It felt like we walked out for a mile. I don't know what the actual number, like the amount of distance or the number of feet that it was, but the tide itself was put at a negative 3.8 feet, 3.6 feet. And we just walked out for such a long period of time and just started being able to find these little treasures all amongst the rocks. Lots of seaweed, lots of cool little creatures. It ended up being just a really spectacular day. The Christmas anemone was one of my favorites. I've never seen that before. There were many, many different starfish. I had never seen such a variety before. There was a little girl walking on the beach. I wish I would have taken a photo. She had a bucket and she was collecting all the sea stars. And so there were so many in there. And there's actually one with blue tones, with pink tones. It was really cool to see. So we did see a few more purpley ones. We saw one, I can't remember what it's called. It might be called a starburst. I have to look on the identification sheet. There's a photo in here and it has 10 tentacles or arms or tentacles, whatever you call them. Pretty darn cool. I'm always surprised by the tides here and just how low they get. And then when they start to come back, so they recede really quickly, but then they return really fast too. So it's kind of crazy. You really have to keep a close eye when you are out on these low tides. If you're visiting Alaska, make sure you don't get caught out there as the water can rise really, really fast and actually surround you, and then you get kind of stuck in the sand. So you just need to be mindful of your surroundings and what's happening around you. Otherwise, it's super fun. There was a jellyfish, the reflection in the water, because it was this beautifully cool, calm day, was just absolutely incredible. We really enjoyed ourselves and had a fun time. Really glad that I wore my boots. I didn't wear my high boots. I will next time, but the views were epic. The beautiful sunny day. In some of these pictures, it looks a little cloudy, but the sun really came out later on in the day. Ended up being just absolutely perfect. So if you ever have a chance, head on down to Homer, Alaska. And this is, again, Bishop Beach. And if you catch it on a low tide, and apparently the low tide tends to happen more on a new moon, so you can look ahead in the tide schedules and you can plan your trip well ahead of time. We knew that the low tide was at, I believe, 10:30. And so we went ahead and made sure we were there at 9:30 so that we could have plenty of time to walk way out, plenty of time to discover all around us, and then have plenty of time to be able to walk back. Super slippery and whatnot too. You can't walk very fast. In fact, when we saw I think it's called the starburst, the beautiful 10-legged sea star, maybe 15 minutes later, I was talking to a woman. I was like, oh, come here, I'll come show you. And I walked over. Well, it was gone. Well, it wasn't gone. The tide had come up and then it was covered up. So it's really kind of crazy how quickly that tide returns, and the seascape, or whatever you want to call it, just changes so fast. So if you ever have an opportunity, head on out. It's just this beautiful treasure. And there were so many kids there, and it was so fun to hear Mommy, look at this, the sea anemone. And they're talking all the big sea words and finding the crabs and playing with the crabs. And it was just really cool. And it's fun, really wonderful family event. There are actually people of all ages out there just enjoying. We also saw a bunch of people horseback riding along the beach. So there's lots of things to do and see here. And this time of year, the fireweed is just insane. That's those gorgeous purple flowers you just saw. They're just everywhere. So anytime you get a chance, head out to Homer, Alaska. And if you're there, make sure you head out and see these absolutely gorgeous beaches. Whether it's high tide or low tide, you won't be disappointed. Beautiful. This is a big part of why I absolutely love beautiful Alaska.